In a prison called the Vertical Self-Management Center, Goreng wakes up in a concrete cell with the number 48 on the wall. The cell has only a bed, a sink, and a hole in the middle of the floor, which his cellmate Trimagasi calls the pit. There are hundreds of floors like theirs, each with 2 prisoners using fake names given by the management. Every day, food is lowered on a platform through the hole, and they have 2 minutes to eat as much as they can before it moves to the next floor. The lower the floor, the less food there is. At the end of each month, prisoners are moved to different floors. When Goreng sees the platform for the first time, he decides not to eat because he isn't hungry and wants to leave food for the lower levels. After eating, Trimagasi spits on the table, knowing people above probably do the same. Goreng keeps an apple for later, but the cell gets extremely hot because keeping food is forbidden. He has to get rid of the apple or they'll burn to death. This makes Goreng think about the interview he had before entering, where he signed a paper agreeing he couldn't leave until his time was up. Each prisoner can bring 1 item, and Goreng chose a copy of Don Quixote. He came here voluntarily to spend 6 months in exchange for a diploma. The next day, Goreng refuses to eat again. Goreng asks Trimagasi for his story. Trimagasi explains it started with a TV ad. He bought a special knife he saw on TV, but a few days later, a new ad promoted an even better knife. This made him so angry that he threw his TV out the window, killing a passerby. He was given a choice between a psychiatric hospital and the hole, so he chose the hole. The lowest floor Trimagasi has been on is 132, and he knows there are more floors below because he could see them. No food reaches the lower levels, and a month down there isn't too bad unless you get 2 lower levels in a row. Goreng is scared of this and tries to talk to people on other floors to ration their food, but they ignore him. Trimagasi responds by urinating into the lower floor and reveals he brought the knife he bought from TV. The next time the platform comes, Goreng finally eats. He also sees someone from the upper levels fall through the hole, and Trimagasi says this is common, but no one does anything about it. Trimagasi tells Goreng about all the floors he's been on and mentions they'll be together next month. Goreng realizes cellmates stay together when shuffled and understands Trimagasi ate his previous cellmate on the lower floors. When the platform comes again, Miharu is sitting on it. Goreng worries because she's injured, but Trimagasi tells him to ignore her. Miharu comes down once a month looking for her missing child and kills her cellmates to increase her chances of being paired with her child. The person they saw falling was probably her victim. Trimagasi explains he never killed anyone, just ate the body that fell on his floor. When the platform goes to the next level, prisoners try to take advantage of Miharu. Goreng yells at them to leave her alone, but Miharu kills them and returns to the platform. At the end of the month, prisoners are put to sleep with gas and shuffled around. Goreng wakes up tied to his bed on floor 171. Trimagasi explains he tied Goreng up because he's younger and stronger, so Trimagasi has to protect himself. Screams can be heard from other floors as people react to their new levels. When the platform arrives, there's no food left. After 8 days, Trimagasi says it's time for him to eat. Ignoring Goreng's pleas, Trimagasi uses his knife to cut meat from Goreng's thigh. Before he can eat it, the platform arrives with Miharu on it. Remembering Goreng's concern for her, Miharu attacks Trimagasi with his own knife. She frees Goreng and gives him the knife to finish off Trimagasi. Goreng passes out and wakes up later on the bed. Miharu has bandaged his leg with a piece of bedsheet and is now eating Trimagasi. She offers some meat to Goreng, who hesitates but then accepts. She also gives him water before leaving on the platform without a word. Days pass, and Trimagasi's body starts to rot, allowing Goreng to eat worms. Goreng begins to hallucinate, seeing Trimagasi's ghost judging him as he eats. At the end of the month, gas fills the cell. When he wakes up, he finds a dog licking him. To his shock, his new cellmate is Imagwiri, the woman who interviewed him. The dog is the item she chose to bring, and they are now on level 33. Goreng remembers the interview and how Imagwiri paused creepily between questions. In the present, Imagwiri explains she volunteered like Goreng and didn't know people died here. She believes there are 200 levels, and when Goreng says there's not enough food, Imagwiri points out that there would be if people only ate what they needed. When the platform brings food, Imagwiri only eats what she needs and gives some to her dog. She prepares 2 rations of food and tries to convince the prisoners on the lower level to eat the rations and make 2 more for the next level. They ignore her, and Goreng points out that the administration doesn't want solidarity. Imagwiri hates that Goreng thinks all administration is bad because she worked for them without issues. Goreng replies that being a former worker gave her the privilege of choosing her cellmate. Imagwiri doesn't give up and keeps trying to ration the food every day, but the lower levels continue to ignore her. 2 weeks later, Goreng gets tired of her yelling and tells the people that if they don't follow Imaguiri's instructions, he'll relieve himself on the food every day and they'll have to eat his shit. The threat works, and the prisoners start passing the messages to the lower levels. Later, the platform comes down with an unconscious Miharu on it. Goreng and Imaguiri put her on a bed and take care of her while the dog steals some food. Once the platform leaves, the cell gets extremely cold, and Goreng has to chase the dog to get the food back before they are punished for breaking the rules. In the evening, Goreng gives the bed to Miharu and sleeps on the floor. He wakes up to find Miharu fighting with the dog, who she kills to eat. The next day, Miharu leaves on the platform. Goreng tells Imaguiri about Miharu's search for her child, but Imaguiri explains that Miharu came alone 10 months ago. She was an actress with no family who volunteered to come, just like Goreng. Imaguiri sent people down here without knowing how bad it was and has been fighting cancer for 3 years. When she found out she lost the fight, she volunteered to come because she thought she could make a difference, but now she doesn't care anymore. On their last day on floor 33, Goreng tries to make Imaguiri eat something because they might not have food tomorrow, but Imaguiri is too depressed to leave the bed. The next morning, Goreng wakes up on floor 202, meaning there are more levels than Imaguiri knew about. This revelation is too much for Imaguiri, and she uses her bed sheets to end her life. At that moment, Trimagasi's hallucination appears again, wondering if Goreng will eat his new friend. This time, he's joined by Imaguiri and her dog, who insist he should eat her body. Goreng tries to ignore their constant rambling and keeps himself busy with other things. He tricks his stomach by eating pages of his book and uses a plate shard to count the days on the wall. Eventually, the hunger becomes too much, and Goreng begins feeding on Imaguiri while Trimagasi guides him on where to cut. Later, the next shuffle comes, and Goreng is pleased to find himself on floor 6. The person on the other bed is Miharu, who comes after him with a knife, but this turns out to be just a dream. Goreng's new cellmate is Baharat, who brought a rope. Baharat is excited because he thinks he can climb to the top from here, and he asks the people on level 5 for help. The couple above teases him before agreeing to grab the rope, but when Baharat starts climbing, the other prisoner lowers her pants and starts shitting on Baharat's face. Shocked and disgusted, Baharat lets go of the rope and falls. Goreng catches him just in time, but the rope is lost in the hole. The hallucinations of Trimagasi and Imaguiri appear again. Trimagasi says Goreng is doing great because he only has 1 more month to go, and Imaguiri reminds him that change never happens spontaneously. This inspires Goreng to think of a plan, and he asks Baharat for help. They should jump on the platform with whatever weapons they can find and make sure people ration the food so everyone can eat. Goreng did the math when he was on floor 202, and based on the time the platform takes to move, he thinks there are around 250 levels, which should be doable. Baharat agrees to work together, and they break a bed to use its metal pieces as weapons. Goreng and Baharat jump on the platform and go to level 7. Goreng says they shouldn't let the prisoners take any food because they ate yesterday and will eat tomorrow. They continue going down, threatening people to keep the food untouched. After a few more floors, Baharat is shocked to see Brambang, an old wise man he respects. Brambang approves of their mission, but says the administration won't care if they succeed. However, the workers on level 0 might, so they need a symbol. Baharat and Goreng choose the panna cotta, a luxurious dish, to send as a message if it reaches the bottom untouched. They keep going down, protecting the panna cotta and keeping people away with threats. Once they reach level 50, they start handing out food, and people are very grateful. On level 97, they find a sick old man and a mentally disabled boy. Goreng tries to feed the old man some soup, but the boy says not to bother because he'll kill the man later to eat him. The next level only has a body, and Goreng guesses this is where Miharu woke up. The platform doesn't stop because there are no living people, meaning Goreng's calculations were wrong, and there are more than 250 floors. On the following floor, they find 2 men attacking Miharu. One has a sword, and the other is huge and burly. Goreng and Baharat jump in to help. Baharat defeats his opponent first and helps Goreng kill the big man, but it's too late for Miharu, who is already dead. Goreng wants to mourn her, but Baharat drags him back on the platform before it leaves. They keep going down, handing out food to the prisoners they see, although many floors only have dead bodies. Eventually, the platform stops at level 333, which seems to be the last one. At first, they think it's empty, but they find Marley, the missing child, hiding under the bed. Baharat and Goreng approach the child, and as soon as they leave the platform, it starts going down again. Goreng asks Baharat to throw the panna cotta into the hole, but Baharat refuses. Surprisingly, the room doesn't get hot or cold to punish them. After much hesitation, Baharat gives the panna cotta to Mali. The three of them stay on that floor, and Goreng is haunted by visions of Trimagasi, Imogwiri, and Miharu. Suddenly, Baharat agrees with the ghosts, telling Goreng that the girl is the message. When Goreng wakes up, he finds Baharat has died from his injuries. The next time the platform comes, Goreng takes Mali with him, and they are lowered to floor 0, which is completely dark and empty. Trimagasi's ghost appears and tells Goreng to get off the platform because he isn't part of the message. Together they watch the platform go up with Mali, hoping she will show the people above the reality of the situation. I hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure to like, comment, share and subscribe. Kindly press the bell icon to support the channel. Take care.